And one of the biggest challenges the new national government faces is resolving and effectively addressing youth unemployment. These statistics indicate a 45.5% unemployment rate amongst individuals between the ages of 15 and 34, in contrast to the national average of 32.9%. This is in the first quarter of 2024. And as South Africans continue to reflect on the sacrifices made by the class of 1976, in 2024, young people are the highest unemployed group, and they make up over 60% of the population. How can this picture change? Dr. Laura Fisher is the head of the Institutional Advancement at Boston City Campus and joins us now. Dr. Fisher, Laura, good morning to you. Welcome. Thanks for your time. You know, there's so much to talk about in a conversation like this, and we can begin by citing a number of policies. So we've got a good policy framework which is designed to transition young people from being unemployed into the ranks of those employed. As you look across that landscape, what are your assessments on why it has not delivered the yield?
Sure. I think if I'm just speaking sort of from my heart for a moment, one of the reasons it hasn't produced what we have hoped is that in South Africa, we are very good at writing policy and not so good at implementing policy. So this means that despite all the policies that are out there and that exist, the issue of youth unemployment still remains probably one of South Africa's most pressing concerns. I mean, the crisis has far-reaching consequences, you know, across intergenerational poverty, diminishing individual prospects. So, yes, we've got policy, but we also need action. And in order to really look at the action part, I think that's where we're going to really mostly see change.
All right, so let's talk then about some of the actions which have to address some of the obstacles. And some of the biggest obstacles that a lot of young people face in this environment is that employers are looking for skills and experience. They regard those who are unskilled and inexperienced as a risky investment. Education isn't a substitute for skills. Schooling is also not a reliable signal of their capabilities. And we look at how, you know, their throughput from school, those who leave school and then enter the workplace, are they capacitated to meet the challenges of the workforce? How do young people overcome so many different barriers to their progress?
Yeah, this is a real barrier. I mean, they even call it the no job experience cycle. And it's an extremely frustrating catch-22 for many young people in South Africa. According to Stats SA, the higher your employment level, the greater your chances are of finding employment. So as you're saying, the throughput from school into tertiary education is critical. I mean, for those with less than a matric, the unemployment rate is around 53%. But if you get a matric, the unemployment rate drops to about 33.5%. And then once you start entering into the higher ed space, for those with higher certificates and diplomas, the employment rate falls to 21%. And then bachelor's degrees, or even higher than bachelor's degrees, the unemployment rate is significantly lowered to around 11%. So this is a hopeful picture because it shows that our level of education definitely increases our opportunity to find employment. But as you say, there's then the second challenge that young people face, and that is the kind of experience divide. So employers don't want to employ students who haven't had experience, but they haven't had experience because they haven't yet been employed. So what we have had to do in higher education is really focus on creating qualifications that have an experiential learning component to the qualification or to the program. And this takes place in the form of work-integrated learning, internships, mentorship programs. So when we're able to bring education and the experience together, then we're really able to move beyond the no job experience cycle and invest in the future of our youth, and in so doing, unlock their potential and set them on a path for success.
Laura, part of what you're sharing, requires already a basic level of education. Sometimes, notwithstanding the work of NSFAS, a lot of children can't get into programs around higher learning. And if they do make it into the TVET colleges, there's still that gap about being able to get what's akin to in-service training to allow them to complete their qualification and then be workplace ready. You've talked to us about some of the interventions, work integrated learning, experiential learning, and so on. For those who are outliers and completely on the periphery and who might be listening to our program today, what opportunity, where can they go? What resources can they access to improve their chances of employability?
Okay, so I'll be pretty practical. I think that one of the major obstacles to young people becoming employed is not just that there isn't employment opportunity, but it's that they haven't really applied their minds to where they want to be employed and what they want to do. So a really good starting place is to do some form of a career assessment, which helps young people to navigate what their aptitudes are and what they should start investing in for themselves toward success. So at Boston City Campus, we offer something called a career compass. It can be found on Boston City Campus's website. And this really is the first point of call, in my view, because we need innovative platforms like this so that students or young people have a personalized sense of a career path that is unfolding before them. It helps them to identify their strengths, their interests, their career aspirations. So we're never going to be able to move past just this unemployment is really difficult until we actually get a set of young people who are inspired themselves to make their world better, and who are inspired themselves by the gifts and competencies that they have within themselves that they may not even be aware of. And so bringing that to awareness, you're then able to more proactively prioritize the kind of education and skills development that you need to be engaging with. So this is really, in my view, how we can start to create a world where every young person has the opportunity to succeed, and to innovate and to make a meaningful impact.
Laura, before we go, I want you to leave our viewers, especially those who are unemployed, with a tool that they can use today. And you talked about keeping the hope quotient high, but we know that no's and no info and a lack of money and a number of different factors can create a corrosive effect to the hope that you have. And we know that young people in this cohort are prone to depression, are prone to, just giving up and not feeling like they're going to get anywhere. What are some of the resources, where are some of the places they can go to today to look for either a further learning opportunity, an internship or a mentorship? Where do they go?
Okay, well, I'll speak from my institutional perspective. Certainly at Boston, we are very proactive in helping young people to map out a personalized learning journey that taps into their skills. So we start with something like a career compass assessment. So for those of you who are listening, go onto Boston City Campus's website, look for the Career Compass assessment, take the Career Compass assessment, and then once you've got the results, there's 47 learner support centers around the country. Visit one of those. Speak to a student advisor. Say to them, listen, I'm not sure where I'm going and what I'm doing, and I'm feeling hopeless. So please, could you help me to start to navigate my future in a more optimistic way?